Everybody, welcome. This is the Town of Somers Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The date is April 21st, 2020. Denise, would you please take the roll?
Mr. Carpenetto?
Here.
Ms. DiPolito?
Here.
Mr. Gio?
Here.
Mr. Hardin? Mr. Hardin? Well, Mr. Lansky?
Present.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Chairman Canistra?
Here.
Thank you.
I'd ask everybody, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I would say probably not stand at this point in time, might be difficult. But let's try to do the pledge. I'm going to start. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
justice
justice
for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, we're going to start on the agenda. Please keep in mind we had to cancel last month's meeting due to we did not have technology set up and to comply with the non-group rules. Thank you, everybody. This is, of course, being done remotely for everybody watching us. The town definitely wants to continue business, so we're going to continue with the zoning board. So we're going to start with the first item on the agenda, and this is of the Somers Land Trust. This is an application for an area variance for a sign in an R40 residential district at 401 Route 202 in Somers. Is there someone here to represent the applicant?
Yes. Michael Barnhart.
Okay, thank you. Sir, if you could just briefly describe your application for us.
The application is for a variance to place a sign at 401 Route 202, which is the entrance to the newly created Rhinoceros Creek Reservation, which is owned by the Somers Land Trust. I am the president of the Somers Land Trust, and we've been already before the Architectural Review Board, and they've approved the sign.
Yeah, I will make mention that the Architectural Review Board has sent Zoning Board of Appeals a memo dated March 3rd, 2020. I'll just briefly read it. It's not that long. At our February 27th, 2020 monthly meeting, the board reviewed a sign proposal for the Somers Land Trust located at 401 Route 202 for the new preserve. One pole sign is being proposed and will be placed at the entrance to the preserve. The sign is 2 feet high by 4 feet wide and reads Somers Land Trust, Rhinoceros Creek Reservation, private reserve open from dawn to dusk for hiking on blazed trails only. Everyone, I believe, should have a copy of the sign that's been given to us. It goes on to say, all the lettering is black with the exception of Rhinoceros Creek Reservation, which is in green. All are on a cream background. The reservation is in an R40 zone, and the only signage permitted is for a home business or profession and cannot exceed 150 square inches. Although the board did not object to the design and colors of the sign proposed, it couldn't be approved as it is larger than is what is required in an R40 residential district. That's why it is before us. Okay, so 150 square inches is allowed, and it looks like this sign is roughly, well, from the diagram, 44 inches by 28 inches, maybe?
The actual sign is 4 by, it's 8 square feet.
Okay. Okay. A couple of questions I have. I'm assuming that this sign is not illuminated?
Correct.
There's no internal illumination or exterior illumination?
That's correct.
Okay. This sign is double-sided, I believe.
What?
Yes.
I'm not, is it double-sided?
Yes.
It is double-sided.
Where is it?
we don't have a site plan that indicates the location of the sign. How close to the road is this? I'm concerned about people pulling in and out and site visibility, things like that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Victor.
I'm New York City Health Commissioner Bledsoe. As city staff, I have an urgent plea on behalf of all New Yorkers. Stay home. When you go out and risk contracting or spreading coronavirus to others.
I'm sorry, is someone commenting or is there some background noise?
Yeah, I hear a background television. Michael?
If everybody not speaking can just hit their mute, please.
Yourself and others. Stay home. You stay home.
Somebody has a TV on in the background, please hit the mute button.
Mr. Barnhart, can you give us a general idea of where this sign is located?
My understanding is it's going to be located back from the road towards the pond area and adjacent to the drive that you take into the property. Can you add anything, Denise, to that, or?
No, but it's definitely going to be far enough back where it will not be an issue. There's one side of the entrance, you're a little bit close to the road, and the other side, you have plenty of space. It's going to be on the side where there's plenty of space.
Yeah, we're going to be back behind the tree line, so in terms of adding to issues of visibility, the sign won't have any impact.
Yeah, because I'm concerned if someone's trying to pull out onto 202 and the sign's blocking.
No, that
I mean,
it'll be
traffic.
far. Yeah, it'll be far enough back. It's not going to do that.
Can you give me an estimate as to how many feet from the Route 202 it'll be?
Oh, it's probably a good 12 or so feet back, I would think. More, 15 feet, something like that.
Now, do you plan on putting it on the right-hand side or left-hand side as you pull into the park?
That's a good question. I'm not
Right.
exact. I think it's the left hand, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, it's the left hand, as I recall.
Thank you.
Is the board okay with approving a sign without a site plan? I mean, usually we have a site plan that spots the location of the sign. I know Architectural Review Board has reviewed its aesthetics, but has the ARB looked at its location or commented on its location at all, Denise? Do you know?
They saw the same paperwork that you saw, and they did not have an issue with the location.
So they will have to appear before the ARB again after they get this variance to get the final approval, or is it approved pending this variance?
No, it's pending this variance. The ARB they already went before the ARB. They had no issues with it.
But once we approve it, it's a done deal.
Correct.
We could approve pending the submission of the location. Just leave it open and then have assuming the submission of the location is okay, approve it from there.
I'm having trouble hearing Bart. Is everybody else also?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's saying that we can approve it pending actual submission of the site plan, or so that or contingent upon it being the 12 to 15 feet and not in a visibility area off the road.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I have less problems with the sign itself than I do with, where is it located? Just so we're not approving something that's, out of the norm here.
No, I agree with you, Vic, and I think that contingency would cover us.
I agree.
Okay.
So can I ask, what does that mean then, that I have to come before another meeting with the site plan, or can I just do it through, your administrative process or something like that?
Well, I think you probably do have to come back before us. I think that we can approve this, the size of the sign. So well, assuming the board wants to approve the size of the sign, if we
Right.
approve the size of the sign, you can go ahead with manufacture and things like that. But I think we've got to then, do a final approval. I mean, if you want to place the sign on the property, taking a guess that we're going to approve it there, which may be the case, you could do that. But I don't know. I think the board, I don't want to speak for all the members, but I think the board may want to see where this is located.
Yeah, I think that's important, but
If we set the criteria that it had to be, if we set the contingency that it was going to be no closer than 12 feet to the road and on the left side of the drive, and they were to meet those, would that, like, could we set up the contingencies such that as long as they meet them, they're good to go?
So the Architectural Review Board had a site plan. They had a site plan. I'm just going through right now, looking at the application, and I see that you don't have a site plan. They did have a site plan.
Yeah, I thought I saw one,
And
but I didn't in my paperwork, so.
I neglected to send it to you because I thought you were just looking at, it was a variance for the size of the sign, which is why I did not send it to you. And I apologize. I just went through my packet.
Can you hold it up to the screen so we can see it? maybe?
Oh, I don't, wait a second. Hold on. Just keep, now what I'm saying is, I didn't send you the site plan, but the ARB had it. And I'm not sure I have it here. I might have it at work. Sorry.
If you want to direct me, Denise, I can get it. I'm at the office.
I have my ARB folder. I'm like sitting here thinking, why? Summers Land Trust. Okay, so here's what I have two things. And again, I apologize. I thought you guys were just looking at the size, which is why I didn't send this information to you. I'm not sure that you could see this. It's on there with the arrow.
With the little red dot,
Yep,
that's on the left-hand side of the entrance.
yep. And this sign is being installed by C&M Signs. He does a lot of signs in the town of Somers, and he knows that he has to be mindful of this as well.
Okay.
Can you all, yeah, sorry, I didn't send this to you.
And it's kind of hard to see the specific placement, but maybe we can, well, we have two choices. I mean, we could do something like Tom mentioned, where we can approve the size, if we want to approve this size, with a condition as to its location at least so many feet off the road, or we can approve the size or determine a size and then come back and take a look at the site plan next month. That's our two ways to go here.
how long will it take them to build a sign?
I think they're already, well, they're ready to go ahead and manufacture. It's a matter of a couple days.
Okay, all right.
I have no problem about having the sign manufactured and the location, as long as it's to the specs that has been presented to the board, and the left-hand side and the proper setback off of 202.
What do some of the other board members think?
I think you do it that way. It's, it's the town. It's,
I can tell you the code enforcer will give them a violation if it's not
Yeah.
the right place.
If they don't comply, okay. And
Yeah,
does anybody
I
have, a-
would,
go ahead.
all right, I would be okay putting in the conditions, and as long as those conditions are met, that they would not have to. Again, this is a little different because this is a town resource, so I would be a little, I would give a little more flexibility there.
Right. Do we want to put in a certain number of feet from the road minimum, and if they can't meet that, they should come back and talk to us?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm taking a picture of the site plan and I'm sending it to Paul. He might be able to help us out here. Okay. Sorry.
While we're waiting for that picture, if we can get it, does anybody have any members of the board have a concern about the size, or do we think that's reasonable? Approximately a 2x4.
I have no problem with it.
I don't think it seems unreasonably large in my mind, yeah.
no, it should be all right.
And again, I think because this is somewhat like although it's not a town park, it functions like a town park, that size is appropriate.
As long as it doesn't interfere with any kind of traffic, I think, we should be okay too.
And that's always my concern when we're approving a sign that's larger than the norm. Just want to make sure it's
Yeah.
not blocking visibility and we have car accidents out there.
Yeah.
All right, Paul has the site plan. All right, he's putting it on the screen.
Yeah, it's upside down.
Yes. Good.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Now, okay, there we go.
Here we go.
Okay. Can he enlarge that area where the sign is going?
Hang on, I'm working on that, guys.
No, take your time, Paul. We appreciate your help on this. We're amazed you can put all this stuff together for us.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Stand by, please. So what side is it? The right? Do you guys see it right here?
I
That's
see
the
the
left
little-
side.
Oh, it's the left side?
Mhm.
Bottom right-hand corner. They're talking about the left side of the
Oh,
drive.
yeah.
You see the arrow with the red dot That's what we're trying to focus on.
All
So
right.
it certainly looks like when you go in the driveway, it's on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It may not specify on this plan then exactly how many feet it sits back.
Does that help out at all? Sorry, I'm just trying to,
Yeah.
Is that anything?
There we go. Now,
Go to the
look,
right.
there you go.
Could you just shift the picture slightly to the left? Size is good. Just move it over so we can see that corner.
Oh, shoot. Stand by, guys.
That's all right.
All right, you see the full map again?
Yes.
All right, so see where it says Somers Town and total area? Is that where you want kind of highlighted?
Where
No,
the arrow is and the red dot, Paul.
in the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, clear as day, right over there. All right, stand by, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay,
Yes, if you can enlarge that, that's perfect.
how's
There
that?
you go.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, it doesn't give any footage.
Right. It gives a general location. So this is where we may want to get a little specific on minimum square footage or minimum feet from Route 202.
Yeah, let me, if I could jump in for a moment. It's shown placed behind the stone wall, which is already quite a bit off Route 202 at that point. I couldn't give you an actual number, but it's got to be at least 10 feet back from the road. So if we go behind the stone wall, we're at least going to be 15 feet back.
Okay. Okay. Well, that gives me some more comfort that it's behind that wall there. Okay.
All right, guys, do you want to see anything different or?
I think I have a good feel for where it's going.
Same here.
Yeah.
Okay. So any other comments or questions from the board in regard to this application? Any other questions of the applicant? I'll put it out there. Does any member of the public wish to speak in regard to this application? Do we have any comments, any call-ins? I want to give enough time, just a minute here for anybody to call in with a question or concern, comment.
I'll let you guys know if somebody's trying to call in. Nothing yet.
I don't have anybody.
You didn't have anybody scheduled, Denise, that you knew of who wanted to speak in regard to this
I
application?
did not.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to call for any final comments from the board. Any further discussion anybody wants to have in regard to this application?
I'm good to go.
Okay, does the applicant have any further comments?
No, I don't, unless there are questions.
Okay. And as mentioned, this is not an illuminated sign, not internally or externally lit.
I have some member from the public trying to get in. Should I let them in?
Sure.
Yeah, it might be the, one of the applicants.
All right, stand by 1 second, guys.
Bill Harden. I'm trying to get in.
Okay, we can hear you, Bill.
Oh, good.
Now we can see you.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Bill.
Well, there you go.
Okay, it was Bill after all. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm
That's no
sorry I had trouble getting on. I had to get on my iPad.
You guys see the live stream there in the left corner as well on YouTube?
Yes.
So there is no comments coming in on that either. And I did put that other slide up. Is that up right now for the public to call in?
It is.
Yes.
No. For anybody listening out there, you would dial one of the phone numbers on where it says United States of America. You dial a phone number and then enter the Zoom ID 599-874-6566, and then we'll be able to patch you in.
Okay.
Oh, that's our cue. I would say there's nobody trying to get in.
All right, so we're going to then go to, I think we're ready. Are we prepared to vote on this? Any further comments from the board members, questions?
No,
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion as to the type of action.
I'll make a motion as a type 2 action.
I second.
Mr. Carpenetto,
Yes.
Ms. DiPolito,
Yes,
Mr. Gio,
Yes.
Mr. Hardin,
Yes.
Mr. Lansky. Mr. Lansky,
He's on mute. He's saying yes, I think.
all right, let me tell Paul.
Take the hand up and down, so we're going to take that as a yes.
All right, he's on.
Am I off mute?
Thank you. Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Newman,
Yes.
Chairman Canestra,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion as to whether we're going to accept or deny the application, any conditions we might want to put on it?
I'll make a motion to grant the application for the sign variance conditioned upon it being set on the left side behind the stone wall.
Second.
Second that.
Mr. Carpenetto,
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Gio,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin. Mr. Hardin,
Bill, can you hear us?
Bill,
Bill, can you hear us? It looks like he's saying aye.
It looks like he's saying aye.
I hear you real low.
Bill,
Yes.
in favor?
Have him shake his head.
How about a thumbs?
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Lansky,
Yes.
Mr. Yeah, Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra,
Aye.
thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Your application is granted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay,
Obliged.
second item on the agenda this evening is that of Alan Cohen and Kevin Lappin. This is an application to renew a special exception use permit for an existing accessory apartment on the second floor of a detached garage of an existing one-family dwelling in R120 district, 17 Old Route 100, Tona. Is there someone here to represent the applicant?
Yes,
Sir, if you could just give us your name and briefly describe your application for us.
my name is Alan, A-L-A-N, Cohen, C-O-H-E-N. We modified a detached garage to create this apartment use for the future if we needed it. And that was 7 years ago. And we were told that every 7 years you must renew the application. And so we basically, with Denise's help, we had a sign made and put that up at the opening of our driveway. And we're here tonight. The inspector had come by and he told us that he felt that nothing had been done to modify. And as far as the floor plan and everything else inside the existing space, it has not been modified or changed since it was constructed.
In the 7 years. It's used now is as an artist studio for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Corey's an artist, my wife, and she has been using it as
A studio
her
space.
studio space.
Okay. And Tom, you have inspected the apartment and it still complies?
Yeah, the apartment's as originally approved.
Okay. So this apartment has been a technical accessory apartment for the last 7 years, but you haven't rented it out to anyone, you've just used it?
No.
Okay. 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 So there have obviously been no complaints or any issues with the apartment from neighbors or anyone else?
None that we've heard that have been said to us,
No
no.
complaints that we're aware of.
All right.
I have not received any.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
And the septic's been cleaned.
Thank you, Denise.
You're welcome, Arnie.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant in regard to this accessory apartment?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Any members of the public wish to speak in regard to this application? If you're either online or want to call in, this is your time to be heard if there's a question or an issue.
Nothing on my end.
Does the
Hey,
while
guys.
we're waiting for anybody to respond, does the board have any further comments of the applicant? Any questions, issues, concerns? No? Does the applicant have anything further to add in regard to this?
No?
Not really. The only thing I'd like to add is my gratitude to Denise. I'm not good at these things, taking care of this. And she made me look good, meaning I got everything done at the proper time. And I want to thank her for her help. It's been
You
a
are
pleasure.
so very welcome. I appreciate it. And I was happy to help you.
Well, thank you again.
Denise is very good at organizing people, especially me as the chairman of the board.
We share that. Not chairmanship.
Okay. So nothing yet, Paul. Nobody commenting or coming in? No questions?
Coming in, guys.
Okay. All right. I think if there's no further comments or questions, I think we're going to go to a vote. If everybody's ready to vote. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the type of action.
Make a motion type 2.
Second.
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Hardin?
Aye.
Mr. Lansky?
Aye.
And Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the application of Mr. Cohen and Ms. Lappin?
I recommend we grant the application.
Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Hardin?
Aye.
Mr. Lansky?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye. Okay, congratulations. Your application's granted. Once again, this is a special exception use permit for 7 years. So 7 years from now, you have to come and visit us again.
And I will be in touch, Mr. Cohen and Ms. Lappin, for the next step of instructions.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And stay safe.
Thank you. You as well.
We'll just leave the meeting now then, right?
Okay, unless you want to, you can stay with us. But there might be something better on TV.
Right. Thank you very much.
You're
Really.
welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So Vic,
Yes.
the next applicant is not on. I emailed her to see if she was, she got an email, she got a test email last week. She got an email about the meeting. It's a renewal she's the new owner. She's the new owner of an accessory apartment at 5 County Line. So how do we proceed? Do we just adjourn it to the next month? unless you
Well,
popped in.
I could temporarily adjourn it for now and just see if they arrive in the
Okay,
next half hour or so before we finish the agenda. If not, we'll have to adjourn it and carry it over to next month's meeting.
all right, terrific, thank you. So then we can move on to Mr. Ramos. Mr. Ramos is with us.
Okay.
So
So
there you go. Hi, Mr. Ramos.
Hi, how are you?
this is the fourth item of the agenda of Addis and Krista Ramos. This is an application to renew a special exception use permit for an existing accessory apartment attached to an existing one-family dwelling in an R40 residential district, 264 Mayapack Avenue, Yorktown Heights. Is someone here to represent the applicant?
Mr. Ramos, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
I am the applicant.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're the applicant. Can you just give us your name and address, sir?
Sure, my first name is Adis, last name is Ramos. I'm at 264 Mayapack Avenue in Yorktown Heights, New York, 10598.
Okay, and you're looking to renew the accessory apartment.
That is correct.
Tom, have you visited the location and is the apartment in compliance?
Yes, the apartment's in compliance.
Okay. Mr. Ramos, is there anybody occupying the apartment at this time?
Yes.
Okay. How many individuals reside there?
It is it's two adults and their children.
Okay.
How many children?
Two.
And two children.
Thank you.
Okay. Have there been any complaints from
bedrooms are there?
neighbors or anyone else regarding this apartment?
No, these are the same the residents. No, they haven't. They're the same folks that have been there for well over 20 years.
Oh, that long. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Tom, the building department hasn't received any complaints regarding this accessory apartment?
None.
Okay. Sorry, Arnie, were you going to say something in regard to this?
Ask how many bedrooms there were, since there's 4 people living there.
Yeah, Mr. Ramos, did you hear that question? How many bedrooms are in the apartment?
Yes. That question's for me? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a one-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
And there are 2 children and 2 adults?
That's correct. The children were not there 20 years ago. They had the children while they were there. Yeah.
One would think that's a little tight.
I know, right? Yes.
Yeah, I think the accessory apartments are, Tom, if I'm mistaken, I don't know if I'm mistaken, aren't they limited to about 800 square feet, I think?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Has the family talked about staying there or moving out, just because that's a lot of people for 800 square feet?
You know, they're a quiet family. I kind of feel bad letting them, if I were to kick them out, where would they go? You know, rent is, I rarely ever raised the rent since I've been in that house, oh boy, 15 years, maybe, probably more. You know, low income family, it'd be kind of sad, right? So if you have any suggestions, I could definitely give it to them.
No, we're just kind of curious as to, you know.
Well, Tom was at the apartment. He could probably give you more from outside looking in.
What are the age of the children?
Oh, I can't remember.
Well, are they grown?
No, they're children. They're kids.
I see.
They're not 20 years old. No.
Oh, okay.
They're
Yeah.
children. They're not even. They're toddlers. They're kids.
Okay.
So this is an R40 district, so you've got about an acre of land here altogether, so.
Yeah, I have over. I believe I should have over. I have over an acre.
Okay. Okay.
I think you have a very nice situation there. The family apparently has adjusted to the place, and you know, I don't know that we should disturb it.
Right. A lot of families are getting used to living together in close quarters right now.
Right.
So, okay. Now, with the number of people living there, this is certainly a situation where we want to make sure the septic has been cleaned and we're good on that. We're good to go
Right.
on that.
Good to go on the septic.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant at this time? No?
I just
Okay.
want to clarify the address. It's 264 or 260?
264.
Okay, because we have 264 and then we also have 260.
Yeah, 264.
Okay.
Melissa, where do you see the 260?
On the application, number 3, it says 260.
Oh, down the very bottom, yes, I see it.
Yeah, but then on the second page, I put 264 again. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put this out to the public. Does anybody wish to comment in regard to the application? Now's the time to call in. Is anybody online who wishes to speak in regard to the application?
I don't have any calls.
Okay, no calls, no issues. It is good to hear that the building department has confirmed there have been no complaints in regard to the apartment, so that's nice. Just give another couple seconds here, see if anybody wants to call in or comment. Okay, if there's no further comments or questions from the board, no further comments or questions from the applicant, I think we're probably prepared to vote. I'll take a motion as to the type of action.
Make a motion that too.
Second,
I'm sorry, who said that?
Bill Harden.
Bill made the motion, Ronnie seconded?
No,
Arnie.
Arnie made the motion.
Arnie made the
Arnie made
motion
the
and I
motion. I'm sorry.
seconded. This is Bill.
All right, now I see it. That was a quick one. Mr. Carpenetto,
aye.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Gio,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion as to whether we're going to accept the application or not?
So moved. I move that we accept the application.
Second.
Second.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Arnie.
Arnie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Carpenetto,
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Ms. Gio, Mr. Gio,
Aye.
Mr. Hardin,
Aye.
Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye. Congratulations, your application has been granted. Keep in mind, it is a special exception use permit for 7 years. You'll have to come back and visit us at that point in time.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you, sir.
Ramos, I will be in touch via email. Thank you.
You guys, thank you. Can I drop or do I?
You can drop.
Awesome,
yes.
guys. Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Okay, next item on the agenda this evening is that of John and Nora Mackey. This is an application for an area variance for a new deck to an existing one-family dwelling in an R80 residential district at 49 Alex Somers. And is there someone here to represent the applicant?
Yep, I'm here, Nora Mackey.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Mackey. Could you briefly describe your application for us?
It's a rectangular deck that we want to put at the back of our house off our kitchen.
And there's no deck there at this point in time?
No,
So that you're not replacing a deck, you're adding a new deck?
yes,
Okay. Was there a patio there before or just grass or what was there?
patio.
Patio, okay. How high is the deck going to be off the ground?
I'm gonna say it's 8 steps down. It would be 8 steps. I
Okay,
don't know how high.
maybe 6 feet, something like that, off the ground?
How do you get to the
I
patio?
would say less than that. I could. Sorry, I didn't realize I was going to have to answer questions. I
Okay.
can run out and check.
No.
Yeah, you want me to go check?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
When you leave the house, you're gonna be leaving through a sliding door. You could be walking straight out, or you're gonna have to make a couple steps down.
Onto the new deck, we want to walk straight out.
Okay, thank you.
Let me make mention here, we do have from the Planning and Engineering Department a memo regarding environmental determination. It says I'll just read it briefly. It's signed by the Engineering Department. A brief review of the materials submitted with the subject determination has revealed that no environmental permits will be necessary for the construction of the proposed deck, 18 feet by 22 feet, as shown on the sketch submitted February 3rd, 2020. It says this office recommends that erosion control measures be installed as necessary if any parts of the application are revised as a result of the process. Issue the building permit, the revised sketch must be resubmitted to this office for verification of compliance to this original determination. Zoning compliance will be verified by the building department. I also want to make mention that we do have, it looks like, an email. This seems to be from an administrative assistant from the Somers Chase Board. Somers Chase Board takes no exception to the proposed deck plan provided unless and until a variance from town ordinance, unless and until a variance from town ordinances is required to proceed with the work. If a variance is required by the town to proceed with the project, the board must be notified and reserves the right to modify its position on the matter, up to and including possible opposing any required variances. So one thing I would ask, has the Somers Chase Board been subsequently notified that you're coming before the zoning board regarding this issue?
Yes.
Okay. Have they voiced any concerns or issues about this?
No.
Now, Tommy, have you reviewed the plan?
You got cut off, Barney.
All right, Tommy, have you reviewed the plans?
I don't have plans yet. I was gonna have the applicant go through the expense of getting plans done if their variance was not approved.
Okay, thank you.
And Tom, I want to understand this. This is an area variance. What are we approving? What are they looking for? Is this for setbacks? Is this for site coverage? What is our variance that we're looking at here?
It's for a setback of 7 feet to the rear yard.
Okay. So they're looking for a variance of 7 feet from the rear yard. Okay.
What's the required rear yard?
30 feet.
So 30 feet's required. They're only going to be providing 23, obviously.
Correct.
Need a 7-foot variance. Ms. Mackey, the house on the lot that's closest to the deck, do you know how close that house sits to the property line? I mean, are they at least back 30 feet from the property line also?
I honestly don't know. I mean, they're not that, I mean, they're small properties, so I can see the corner of his house. I did speak to him and he doesn't have any issue unless he has contacted anybody since, but yeah, I couldn't really tell you how close his
Okay,
house
I realize
is
these are cluster zoned houses, so they sit a little closer than usual, because this is an R80 district where normally that's about 2 acres per house, but with cluster zoning, it's a little different, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I am glad you spoke with your neighbor, and the neighbors didn't voice any concern, though.
No. He came over, he looked, I showed him exactly what we were doing, and he was totally fine.
Okay. It's always nice to talk to the neighbors and have everybody
Yes.
working together. That's always the best way.
Is there a house right behind your house?
A what?
Is there a home behind your house?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
That's the neighbor?
That's my neighbor. I only have
Okay.
one neighbor. There's nobody on either side.
Okay. Thank you.
These homes, are they septic or is the development have its own waste treatment?
The development has it.
Okay, so there's no septic fields in the back of the property?
No, not that I know of.
Right. And you also have community water also, so there's no, I assume there's no wellhead on your property either?
No,
Okay.
not that I'm aware of.
Will this new deck connect into that existing patio in some way? Will there be stairs to the patio or?
Yes. There's, yeah, I mean, there's already stairs. We might move the stairs, but there are stairs down already because they said it's like 6 steps down.
Can I just clarify that in the beginning? I wrote down that the deck was replacing the patio, but it's going to be a deck and still a patio?
Yeah, basically what it is it's a very large patio. So we're putting a smaller deck on top of the patio. So when you get off the
Okay.
deck, you're going to step onto a patio.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And there'll be only one set of stairs coming off the deck once you're outside, and then there's an entrance into the house.
Yes. So just to clarify, in case I'm misunderstanding you, what we want to do, and we haven't done it yet, is obviously, so we now have an existing set of stairs, right, coming down onto the patio from a side door.
Right.
We want to put in sliding doors to walk straight out onto the deck. Just letting you know that, so I guess theoretically there could be a sliding doors walking straight out onto the deck, and then the existing door could remain and the stairs could be going down from that, or we may move the stairs in and take away that existing door, make it a window.
Okay. It looks like there's a little landing when you first step out, then you go down the stairs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's usually what we see. Usually we'll see steps right up to the house. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant at this point in time?
I think I'm just looking at a Google image here, satellite image, and I'm kind of comparing it to the drawing. I mean, the patio that's there looks like probably roughly twice the size of what this deck would be. It's a large patio, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so had you considered just taking 7 feet off the deck so that you could comply with the setback?
No, because what that would mean is that we would be smack in the middle of the patio. And the patio has a little wall, so it just wouldn't look right, it wouldn't function right. And it wouldn't, it's just not enough debt to make the job, to make it plausible for us. So we're kind of, that when the Toll Brothers houses were built, they came with a deck, or, everybody kind of, the deck was the way to go, but for whatever reason, we didn't do it. And now we're getting older, so we want to be able to spend more time without having to go down the 6 or 8 steps, whatever that is. So we're trying to be deck size bigger, so it's more of a usable space.
I'm also looking at Google Earth, and it looks like there's a good amount of screening of trees and shrubs, which we
Yes,
do in
yes.
that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussions amongst the board?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'd like to put this out for public comment also. Does anybody from the public wish to say anything in regard to this application? Anybody calling in? You're welcome to call in and discuss this application if you'd like.
I don't have anything.
Nothing. Okay, just give it a couple seconds here, see if anybody wants to contact us. We can bring them into the meeting. Any further questions of the applicant, or does any board members have any comments to make at this point in time?
No.
Does the applicant wish to say anything additional at this point in time?
Nope. Just thank you for everything.
Okay. Okay, so we're deciding here on a 7-foot variance for the deck. So I think we're going to first do a vote as to the type of action.
Make a motion type 2.
Second.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Bill.
Thank you. Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Hardin?
Aye.
Mr. Lansky?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Chairman Canistra?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have a motion as to whether we're going to grant the 7-foot variance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Hardin?
Aye.
Mr. Lansky?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Chairman Canistra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations. Your application has been granted.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, thank you to Denise for all her help.
Thank you.
you. And Mrs. Mackey, I'll be in touch with you, okay?
Yep. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm gonna leave the meeting also. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we're going to go on to the 6th item on our agenda this evening. This is the Christopher Columbus Society of Yorktown, Inc. This is a carryover application. We discussed this at I believe, the February meeting. This is an application for an area variance for an existing deck and wood steps to an existing 1-story frame building in an R40 residential district at 118 Mayapack Avenue, Granite Springs. This is a pre-existing non-conforming use. And we had received previously photographs regarding the deck. We had also heard from some of the neighbors regarding the deck. We had asked the building inspector to take a look, and Tom was kind enough to take a look at the situation and provide any other information he had in regard to it. Tom sent us an email, which I'm going to read to the board at this point in time. From Tom Tuma, building inspector. I met the applicant's representative at the site. I was unable to see the underside of the deck as it is practically resting on the ground. Some portions, in brackets, support girder, are actually partially below grade. Therefore, I was unable to verify the structural integrity or age. The representative and I discussed the legalization process. I explained that many deck boards would need to be removed in order to observe the substructure and would also involve regarding verifying footings, bringing the steps to code, etc. We also discussed installing a patio of some sort, and I advised a building permit would not be required. The representative said he would consult his client as to how they wish to proceed. I did visit Westchester GIS historical maps in an effort to age the deck, yet no clear images were found. I also like to make mention that there is a memo to the Zoning Board of Appeals from the town assessor. It's one paragraph, very quick. As there is no note regarding the deck, regarding the date the deck was found to be on the property, I can give no definitive answer on the date of construction. However, it appears from the handwriting and sketch alteration that the deck was discovered by the assessor well after a town-wide data collection was completed in 1974. While the deck may have been constructed prior to 1974, it was not added to the property card and therefore not assessed until many years later. The handwriting in the sketch alteration for the deck appear to be that of former assessor Christian Harkins. So there's a whole question as to, legalizing this deck or not. Is there someone here to represent the applicant?
Yes, I am. This is Wooly Basharat. How are you guys doing tonight? Somehow my video got shut off by the host.
Okay.
So I don't know if Paul can turn it back on.
I'm sorry, Willie, you were just in the background before. Apologize, I'll get you on.
Okay.
And sir, could you give us, what is your title with the organization?
I'm the designer trying to get the stuff legalized for them, working with the Christopher Columbus Society. When we were at the last meeting, it was suggested that we speak with Tommy regarding there you go. Regarding the age and the integrity of the structure. The structure is basically ground level. And Tommy was right. The only way for us to really check with the footings or what have you, we have to remove the boards that are, the decking, and go underneath it and see what's underneath there. I have discussed it with the client, the situation, the importance of this deck is not really that important. What we need is a platform in the front of the door because it's approximately 12, 14 inches above the finished grade there. The idea of putting some kind of a patio or even just a gravel patio, what have you, in the front of the area just to make it easily accessible and not have to worry about cutting the grass and getting wet every time you walk on it, it's not a far-fetched scenario. So the idea of taking down the deck and building something smaller, a smaller platform in front of the door is acceptable. The small steps in front of the fire egress on the other side, those have to be reconstructed. I don't think that those are an issue because they will be reconstructed to the same size. And that was the other variance that's required. In this case, if we remove this deck, we have to rebuild something in the front of the door. The whole building is within the setback. So whatever we build in the front of the door, it still will require the court to give us a variance. I'm suggesting probably a small platform within the dimensions of 6 foot by 8 foot will be sufficient and create the safety when you step in and out of the place. Tommy and I had discussed the idea of maybe even ramping the patio and have it a little bit more accessible or close to being accessible, handicap accessible. That is something we'll be entertained and see how feasible it is to do without going crazy with the construction. I mean, like I said, the building is approximately 12 to 14 inches above finished grade at the door sill.
Tom, if they decided to do just a patio with a ramp, shall we say, up to the door, is that something that would, let's say it's earthen and whatever, it's just kind of graded up to the door. Is that something that they would need a variance for?
Yes, because we cannot have the grade go up to the door because we'll be burying the wood frame portion of the building under the dirt, and that will cause it to rot. So really, we can't do it. We have to build a separate structure and have it completely watertight and flashed properly to prevent any of deterioration. And that's going to be very hard to do, and that's why we're not very keen about going that route, because it's going to create a hardship, and within a couple of years the water will go behind there and rot it out, regardless how hard you can work on it, if you don't allow the place to go. So therefore, we're going to build a platform in front of it, chasm built out of wood. This, when you step out from the door, you don't have that 14-inch step in front of you. It will be actually basically a step.
And there is a pre-existing door on that
Yes.
side of the building?
Yes, that's the main entrance to the building, actually.
Okay. Is that just one door or a double door or a sliding door? What kind of a door
It's
is
a
it?
double door. It's a double swinging door.
Okay. So I assume then you want to have probably 8 feet next to the building and then it extending out 6 feet from the building.
Basically 5 to 6 feet. Yeah, somewhere around there.
And it would
6 feet
basically
to be on the safe side, because we are going to need a variance, and we need to alter our variance to less than what we advertised.
Okay. And then you would have large steps, I guess, coming off of that down to the patio.
No, the platform itself will be the step.
Oh, I see. So, when you come out of the building, wouldn't you have a platform to? or
Yes,
you
the
just have-
platform has to be 4 inches lower than the door sill for snow protection.
So coming out of the door, you're basically proposing steps coming right straight out of the door, not a.
Actually, you'll have about 4-inch step from the building onto the platform, and the platform itself will be the step, approximately another 8 inches or 7 inches to the patio. The patio will be raised a little bit, and that's how it will be. That's like the platform in the front of the door will be just a platform only. There's no steps.
Tommy, I have a question regarding the 4-inch step. Would that be considered a tripper, or would that be to town code?
With an outswing door, it would be considered a tripper, not with an in-swing door.
Now, what's there now? An in-swing door, or a slider, or an outswing?
It's in-swing door.
It's an in-swing?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm still a little confused. So if you're going up to the building, you're going to come up steps. Are you going to step then when you open that door directly into the building, or will you come up steps, be on a platform, then come into the building?
A platform, then come to the building. It's not no steps. It's going to be the patio, 1 step, which is the platform, and from that platform, 4 inches into the building.
Oh, I see. So it's just 1 step up. Okay,
That's
now
right.
I understand.
Willie,
Now I understand.
anything on your computer, Willie, that you want to share as far as documentation or
Say that again?
do you have any documentation on your computer that you can share with us? If you click on screen share at the bottom, you can.
No, I don't have that, because this came in on the scene just a couple of days ago, so really have not sketched anything. It's a very, very simple minor item. It is not something that's elaborate.
Would this platform, I assume, be out of like pressure treated lumber or painted?
Yes, pressure treated lumber, correct.
Okay.
Now, if we go this route with the 1 step going up to a small little platform, does that have to come in front of us with a site plan?
Yes, I don't know about site plan, but we can alter the required variance that we are asking for, because we are going for less amount of variance that was advertised, not more. We're pushing it back. I mean, right now, the variance that we are asking for, it's 8 feet out of 30, which we were asking for 24.8 feet of a variance. We will be going, instead of a 24.8 feet, we'll be going for 6 out of Goodness, 6 out of 19. We're going for 13-foot variance. 6 out of 19, 6, 19, 12. I'm sorry, 12, 13. We'll be going for 17-foot variance instead of 24.
That would be a new application, Vic.
Why would it be a new application? Because we can't we alter the application itself right now?
No.
Because
No.
we're going for less than what we are asking. If we're going for higher, it's a different ball game. But again, I don't know what the regulation
Yeah, but part of,
on that.
part of the problem is, Willie, the application is for an existing deck and wood steps.
Correct.
And if you're gonna remove the deck, now it's a brand new application. If you're gonna remove it, Tommy, do you agree with me?
I'm not sure I mean, you know, we are reducing the size of the existing deck. Chances are we're reusing lumber.
Tom?
I'm thinking,
Yeah, I mean, is it considered a reduction of the current application, or is it really considered so different that it should be a new application should be made here?
Correct. The problem was the illegal deck.
Right.
from the get-go, right? Deck was, you know.
For notice, for the purpose of notice, I believe if it's less, we're okay for notice. But the question of whether the application is good is a separate question. I don't think you have a notice problem, which is one of the typical hurdles.
You know, the deck, there was a deck existing once upon a time throughout the whole entire history of this building, because the door, like I said, about 14 inches above the finished grade. So there was some kind of a platform, a deck. The size of it is the one in question. And we are looking to go back to the original, what was there basically, which is the minimum needed to do the work. I mean, as the deck or the platform that we are proposing to resolve this issue is a must. And when this building was built back in 1957, whatever year it was built, it must have had some kind of a platform or a deck in front of it, because the door is 14 inches up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is that I think I like this idea as opposed to keeping the old deck. Is there any reason why I do feel like, just for clarity, and when this comes up down the road, that a new application might be good for everybody, including you, so that it's documented exactly what, so we don't have this confusion like we did this time of when this was built.
Is that a new application and a new fee?
I don't know that part.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. We should just alter the application. It's already been there. It's already been heard. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you come in front of the board with certain items and say, well, we reduce the encroachment, we'll be okay with it. And that's what we're doing. We try to reduce the encroachment.
So is that the problem? Your problem is more just on you don't want to pay the fee again, not a timing issue.
That's one of the problem. I mean, the society is really, their funds are very limited.
What's the fee, Denise?
The fee is $150. I mean, I think the clean way to do this is a new application. However, the authority sits with the town supervisor to waive an application fee.
If that's how it has to be, I kind of disagree with it, but if that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. We're not going to argue it. I don't see a reason for it. I mean, you know, it's a New York State zoning code. If you reduce the encroachment and what was advertised, it could be modified right at the meeting. I've done it many times, many times in many different towns before. I've been doing this for 35 years. And we've done it many times before. I never heard of it has to be a brand new application.
Sir, if you
We are the same item that we're talking about. We're not talking about different item here. We're talking about the encroachment being from 24 feet. The variance that we asked for 24-foot variance, we asking now for 17-foot variance. It's the same exact principle. Less variance.
Is that 17-foot variance, is that including the proposed patio? Or is
Yeah,
that
the
just
patio
the
does not
fence?
need a permit or a variance. We talk about the platform that we're gonna put in the front of the building.
Right.
And then the patio will extend from the platform.
The patio will be like exactly around the platform, wherever the old deck was, will be the covered with material as to grass not to grow and become a nuisance for people to go in and out of the building.
Okay, so we're not essentially reducing the proximity to the neighboring property. We're just.
Oh, we're reducing it substantially from both directions, towards the rear and towards the side. We make it, the deck right now is like, what is it, 14? I don't remember the size of it.
It's 14 by 14.
14
by 14. We go to 6 by 8, so we're reducing the encroachment in all directions.
As far as the platform, but we're still then could fill with stone and gravel.
That is, it could be grass, it could be anything. It could be grass, it could be anything. There's no way that we can stop that.
But we're not involved in that. That's landscaping and that's.
Exactly.
So I have to say, I agree with Tom. I like to see all new, plans for it and, take it from there.
I mean, even if we were to approve this platform, we would still need to see a revised plan, and the town would have to have a revised plan.
Okay, I'm sorry, I agree with that. So why don't we ask for postponement till the next month, and in the duration, we will submit revised drawings reflecting what we're planning on doing.
That sounds great.
Better time for discussion.
I go along with that.
Sounds very good to me.
I'd be amenable to that.
I think that's a reasonable approach.
Okay, so let's postpone it and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Yep.
All right. All right, and we're looking, and you're going to put together a plan that is going to be more along the lines of a 6 by 8 platform with dimensions and things like that, so we can see exactly.
Correct, and we'll do the site plan reflecting the new variances that we need.
All right, this way we have good documentation, because that's the problem with this whole application is
I need to interrupt here. We cannot postpone this till May, because whatever I need to send you, I should have had last Friday.
That was going to be one of my next questions. So it's a time issue. So it will not be in May, be in June.
And in light of our offices are closed, I think, Willie, I need to postpone this till June.
Okay, that's no problem.
That'll give you more time, and I do not have my calendar in front of me. We're meeting a week earlier in June. Hold on.
By the way, my laptop battery is getting very low. I hope we don't get cut off.
All right, so let me just give you the date, and I will email you tomorrow, but our June meeting is on the 9th, Tuesday the 9th. It's a week earlier because of the assessment board of review.
Okay.
So June 9th, I'll email you at some point, over the next couple of days, so that you know exactly what I need. Do you need to chime in here?
No, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, everybody, and stay safe.
Okay, I do have one statement to make.
Yeah,
I
hold on.
will say that I have.
Right back.
Okay, I have stopped there several times, but I've noticed that there is a gutter in the parking lot. I know it doesn't pertain to us, but as a good neighbor, that should be cleaned up.
I'll bring it to their attention.
I thank you.
Okay, before we leave this application too, I did want to ask if there's any comments from the public in regard to this application, either anybody online or anybody who wants to call in regard to this application. I want to give that opportunity, knowing though that this application is going to be carried over to the June meeting. right? Not May, but June. Okay.
I don't have anything.
Nothing? Okay. Any further comments from board members or anything else we want to discuss in regard to the application? Okay, I think we've given the applicant some guidelines. We want to see a revised plan and something a lot closer to a smaller item than this deck of something of maybe 6x8 or something else like that. Okay, no comments? Okay, so we're just going to carry this item over until the June meeting. I guess the applicant has left us at this point in time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he left us.
Okay. Okay. So before we continue with our other business, I did want to just go back to the application number 3 on the agenda of Albert and Anne Marie. Denise, if you could please help me with that last name.
The last name is Gojai, and I have not heard from her. I emailed her, and she has not tried to join the meeting. So I will put that on for the May meeting.
Yes, let's just carry that over. Okay, that would be great. Okay, so we have 2 carryover items. All right. So the next item on the agenda we have, so that's for regular business. Now we're going to go to other business here. The other business before us relates to cell tower renewal applications. Just to give a little history on this, going back several years, the zoning board used to be the lead agency on approving cell towers in the town of Somers. Because the planning board has site plan approval and very often environmental involvement, it was thought to be more efficient for the planning board to basically take over the cell tower approval process. When cell towers were approved, they would have to come back periodically for a review or a renewal of their permit. And what has happened is that if it was originally approved by the zoning board, thought has been then it should come back to the zoning board for renewal. The planning board is proposing to us that it would be more efficient, since they're always dealing with the cell towers, that they handle all of the renewals, and they've asked the zoning board, and I believe town council has gotten involved also, in asking the zoning board as to whether we would object or be amenable to allowing the planning board to take care of the cell tower renewals, including those that were originally approved by us on the zoning board. I'd like to solicit some comments from board members. There was a memo provided dated April 20th, 2020 from the planning board.
And Bart sent an email out earlier today regarding it.
I did see that, Bart. It looks like you're in favor of letting planning board take this.
And this is Bill, and I agree with Bart. I think it'd be more efficient for everybody involved, including the people that are developing the towers and including us. They go before one board and they get the whole thing settled, and that makes sense. I trust the discretion of the planning board is at least equal to ours, so I don't think that'll be a problem.
I also did a little bit of research into the zoning code, and that article, the wireless telecommunications, section 170-129. It's the definition section, and it defines the approving authority as the planning board.
Right.
So I would defer to that definition within the article itself and be okay passing on.
Right.
Yep.
I agree.
Yep.
Well, I will agree with the other board members.
Yep. Yep. Ronnie and Tom, do you agree also that this would be something that's probably best for the planning board just to handle it soup to nuts and keep us out of it?
Yes, I
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, I think it does make sense. You know, why have two boards dealing with the same issue, going back and forth? Planning
Makes
seems to
sense.
be much more involved, and I don't have a problem with them, you know, taking over this. So we seem to have a consensus that the planning board taking over these zoning tower renewals, even if they were approved by the zoning board, is something that we are okay with.
So
Now, I do have a
yes.
question. You know, if in the future, if there is another cell tower proposed and it has to do with zoning, it still has to come in front of us then, correct? Where we would be the lead agency?
Well,
I don't believe so, because it says in the statute itself, the special use permit is for the planning board as to whether a wireless telecom facility can be constructed.
I think on a new board, on a new cell tower would settle the entire thing with the planning board. They would go to the planning board with their site proposal and so forth and so on, and the planning board would give them the approval or disapproval of the cell tower.
yeah, I think this is totally, right now, the way it's done, it's totally under the purview of the planning board at this point in time.
No, I was just curious about.
There's only one tower caveat for Arnie. Sorry. Arnie, I was just gonna say, if they needed a zoning variance, then they might come before us, but the code says that they should be on a conforming lot if they're gonna do it. So the chance of them actually needing a zoning variance and ever seeing us would be really slim.
Right.
Thank you.
I agree.
So do we have to make a motion in regard to this, Denise? I don't know what you think is the proper procedure here.
It couldn't hurt.
Okay.
Yep, why don't we do that? And then we've been asked to respond in writing. And I will draft out a memo for you to look at, Vic, for me to send to the planning board. And I actually, there are two applications sitting on my desk right now. So I do want to get that memo back to the planning board quickly. And I want to let the applicant know that they have to go to the planning board now.
Sorry to interrupt. I have somebody trying to get in on the meeting right now. It's not saying their name is coming in.
Oh, hopefully it's Anne Marie.
Should I let them in?
Yeah.
All right, stand by.
I prefer to.
Ask them to identify themselves and spell their name so I can punch that in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello?
Why are you back?
I don't know, just, do you need me for anything? I switched computers.
Oh, no, you're done. One chance.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You're finished.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, Willie.
All right, so he misses us, I guess. All right. All right, so maybe we should have a motion just to make it official that the zoning board is going to grant authority to the planning board in regard to all renewal applications, including those approved by the zoning board, and that cell tower approvals and renewals will be solely under the purview of the planning board, so that we won't get involved in those. Is that something we want to make a motion, and then we can have it official, and then we can write a memo?
Vic, did you put that into a motion, Vic?
I'm trying to give some guidelines here.
It sounded real good.
Should we say relinquish any authority that we have versus grant? Because I don't even know if we have the ability to grant. So relinquish and render any authority?
Yeah, we can render, or we can just say we agree.
Yeah.
Proposal.
Yeah, I mean, we should try to follow, proper, legal wording here as far as making this, a proper a proper motion. And
Hold on, let me
Off the language.
see here.
yeah, and I have no problem with Bart or Melissa, the two attorneys on the board, to give some legal,
We
legal
could just make
verbiage.
a motion that we agree to convey authority to grant special exception use permits for wireless cell towers to the planning board.
I think that's fine. And then we can
Good.
work on wording, Denise. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay, let's do a vote.
Seconded?
I did, Bill.
We all
Bill.
did.
We all-
All right, Mr. Carpenetto,
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito,
Aye.
Mr. Gio,
Aye.
Mr. Harden.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Lansky,
Aye.
Mr. Newman,
Aye.
Chairman Canestra.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll draft up a memo and we'll resolve that issue. Last item on the agenda this evening is the approval of our last meeting minutes, which were February 18, 2020. Has everybody had a chance to review those minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do we have any changes or issues, or are we good to go?
Good to go.
I was not there, so should I not vote? I'll
Check.
hold out.
You should
No,
not-
you can, according to the town attorney, as long as they've given you the opportunity to review the minutes and comment on the minutes, you are allowed to vote whether you were there or not.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'll just take a consensus vote. All in favor of approving the February 18 minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, minutes were approved for February 18, 2020. That includes everything on the agenda. We have 2 items we're carrying over to next month. Well, actually, 1 we're carrying over to June. Any other issues anybody on the board wants to discuss? Any other concerns? Items?
No.
No?
No.
Not here.
Okay. With that, if there's nothing else, I'm going to conclude the meeting. Thank you, everybody. I want to say a special thanks to Paul Holman for all his help getting all of this technical video stuff working and together. We couldn't have done it without him, and really do appreciate it very much, Paul.
Great job, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Bill.
Thank you.
Good going.
All right. All right.
Thanks,
So
Paul.
thank you, everybody. Good night. Stay safe. And
Vic, Do you
we'll
have
see
the
you.
date for our next meeting?
Oh, yes. Our
When are
next meeting is May 19th,
19.
right? The 3rd Tuesday of the month. And
Okay.
we'll probably be going to be on video again, I have a feeling, next month, too.
Yep,
I
I'll
agree.
let all of you know for sure. But if you could just mark your calendars for May 19th and then again for June 9.
Right.
Will do.
Well,
Yeah, June is an unusual meeting because it's the second Tuesday. So everybody put that on your
yeah,
calendar.
June 9th is the second Tuesday because of the assessment board of review on the third Tuesday.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
Sounds
Okay.
good.
I think we're good.
All
Good
right.
night, folks.
All right,
Good night, everybody. Hey, Paul.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Be safe, be well.
Okay.
Do well,
Great.
everybody. Take care.